Hello, my family. It is a beautiful 70-something day today, and yes, I'm about to do my laundry. But in the point of doing my laundry today, I had a question that came up, and so I'm going to reflect on that question today. But first, I want to say, Miss Kelly Cole, thank you for the beautiful Easter card. That was so precious. I received that today, and I thank you so much. Kathy Rhino, thank you for your beautiful letter. I enjoy reading your letters and sharing with you. That was really cool. And Kathy Chapman, darling, thank you, my beautiful loving friend. We grow closer and closer, and I can't thank you enough. So bless you. Today's question is, what if? When I think about that question, what if, it opens up an aspect to so many different things. And while we talk, I'm going to go ahead and start hanging up my laundry because I want to get that done, and I got to feed the farm because we are actually, currently I'm making some Jamaican sorrel drink to make a nice cold drink for me this evening, which have so many benefits in it. It's unreal. Immune system, lowering cholesterol and blood, and just so many different things, including an anti-inflammatory. So I am actually going to drink some Jamaican sorrel this evening, even though mainly people use it for Christmas only, but to me it's Christmas every day. And I am going to be starting, our whole wheat berries came in yesterday, so I am going to be starting making a sourdough starter out of whole wheat berries and see if I can do this. I'm actually going to put Lazarus aside for now, or no, that one is Vincent Van Gogh. I'm going to be putting him aside in the refrigerator for now because if this works, honestly, I'm going to be replacing him with the more whole wheat side because that'll be the one I'll be using anyways with whole wheat berries. Another thing I'm going to be doing is making a loaf bread, Pullman pan loaf bread of whole wheat grained milled flour bread. My husband is actually doing quite well on this. On those tortillas that I had made, those were made with soft white wheat berries, and we milled our own, and his blood sugar 2 hours after he ate 2 of those was only 128. Now folks, I'm going to tell you, normally he would be so much higher than that, even with his medication. I had given him 2 slices of pizza. Well, he actually ate 3 slices of pizza using regular bread flour, and he spoke almost up to 200. So this is amazing. And even with whole wheat flour, he can spike up in the high 180s to almost 200. So this was a game changer. So again, we're going to try this, and he wants to try it right now without his meds and see how well it works. So that comes to the question, what if? Now, I'm going to go ahead and start my laundry with you, and then we're going to ponder on that question, what if? Okay, so this helps me just get done with this and work with you at the same time because I am trying to catch up on all of my work right now and get everything done before I'm in about 2 weeks when I go and have my dental work done. So I want to get all of my work finished, and I'm going to give you an update on the raised beds. So the question comes in, what if? What if I learned something and I didn't take my opportunity? What if I had been praying for something to happen or praying for an answer, and basically it was put in front of me, but I didn't recognize it? So, not recognize it, what if I missed my window of opportunity? You know, I've always been grown up to know that if you didn't know something, you asked. So in a lot of things in life, still to this day, I don't know everything, so I ask. And lately I ask the Lord. I ask for answers. Do I know everything? I really don't. But my question is, again, what if? What if I didn't ask? What if I didn't take my opportunity? There were many that I have actually done that. I had missed opportunities because I didn't see it, or I was too afraid, or I had a lot of my excuses and stuff, and there was a lot of things that really I couldn't do at the time. But I never thought to ask for the provisions for it if this was supposed to be something I was supposed to do. What if I didn't trust God? That's a big one. So, I have to ask again, what if? I have been praying for the solution to help me figure out my husband's diabetes. I know we got here for a reason. It didn't just happen, y'all. There is something that created this. Now, I have been told by many of you, I have been led, literally led to many areas to the answer. But what if I didn't listen? What if I didn't take that opportunity? Could my husband still be stuck with knowing that he can't have every nutrient and vitamin that is to offer, that God had us to offer? If you remember right, David, I believe it was, would not eat from the king's table, the fatted king's table. He asked for grains and vegetables and fruit only. And the guards were afraid that they would lose a lot of weight. And then the king would be upset. But they said, trust them. Trust in the fact that they would be able to gain plenty of weight. To which they proved they could. Now, I have been looking for ways to lose weight. And I know that a lot of things I was doing unnaturally. But what if? What if the foods that I was actually eating is causing all of this? Here in America, obesity is at its highest rate. Heart disease, diabetes, there's an over and abundance. It's about as bad as cancer. So what if it is something to do with the food that they are making for us? These are all good questions. Let me get resituated here. So now comes my next question. What if I learned all of this? What if it turns out to be the answer and I kept it for myself? Just because somebody couldn't afford to do so right now. And I'm going to tell you folks, I have literally been watching many people in the last year, many homesteaders be able to do things I cannot do. I cannot raise cattle. I cannot raise sheep or my own goats. How would I love to? Absolutely. But I can't just up and pack up. I own this property. I can't just sell it and go back into debt again. I could if I wanted to, but why? So I make do with what I have. Same thing when I saw folks milling their own grain. Although at the time I wasn't quite educated because I wasn't ready for that step, I guess. I've learned that when things happen in life, they happen in steps for reasons. Nothing happens by chance. I came across this last year and it intrigued me, but I knew at the time I really couldn't afford it. So I kind of shucked it off, and those were my wish dreams. You know, the catalog dreams that we all like, or when we go to the mall and look in the window. That was one of my situations. However, opportunity did arise and God did provide. So now I have to ask myself, what if I didn't listen to God and do what I had to do? And I understand so many are coming at me and saying, well, they can't do that right now, so, or And I get it. Y'all, I'm not telling you you can. What I'm going to do is what if. What if this is my answer to my husband and his diabetes, where he can actually have a normal life in moderation and be able to enjoy grains again, enjoy a regular pizza crust, or enjoy a sandwich with real bread? What if I didn't take this opportunity and find out? What if I played it safe and just kept it the way it is from now on? You know, I have to think about some of this low carb food. I'm not downing it because, well, we've ate it and it helped a lot. But here's some things that I learned from it. One, I learned what I lost quickly, I also gained back just as quick. I also learned and started studying the aspects to it. And a lot of your keto breads these days, y'all, a lot of your keto or low carb sources, if you ever notice something, they're replaced with exceptionally high fiber sources. Now, granted, our whole wheats and our legumes, these are natural foods, and although they have fiber, they are not that high. That high of fiber, I will tell you my experience. One, major bloating. We had dealt with so much bloating. It was unreal, to the point at times very, very uncomfortable. Although the texture of the food wasn't normal per se. Let's reshift again. Okay, so back to it wasn't normal. My husband eventually started coming out when I asked him about a pizza one night, which was just last week. I asked him if he wanted pizza. His answer was yes, but please find another source. To him, he said, it kind of felt like eating something rubber. Now, y'all, I have to agree with him. Now, I always knew, we all know, low carb areas, nothing was ever going to be the same. And although it has helped, I did get the medical doctors going against us in another form, naturally. And they stuck him on medication anyways, going a roundabout way because of his heart. Well, that turned out to be something messed up. They tried to give him medication, honestly, that he could not afford, and nonchalantly, the whole situation ended. Even to the point they started talking to my husband about a defibrillator. Folks, he did not need one. And the doctor changed everything he said. That was terrifying to me. Now let's go talk. Okay, so we're going to take a brief moment. I'm going to enjoy the sunshine, y'all. So now comes my question again. What if? All right, I look at it this way. How am I going to know unless I try something? Now, I understand that a lot of content lately, it seems that on this channel, there are a few of you saying that you can't do this, and I get that. I really do. There's still a lot of places that I am subscribed to myself that I'm not able to do, but it does teach me something in it, and so I have to do this. The fact is what if I don't? What if this is my answer that I have been praying for my husband? What if that what I am learning about our food isn't the truth? And I will never know unless I try. Because once we ask that question, what if, the next step comes in, how are we going to know? I was always taught on top of that, to ask questions. I was always taught to try it. You'll never know unless you do. And that's where I'm at, y'all. I will never know unless I try what I am doing now with whole grains. And along with everything else on this homestead, raising my own food, growing even bigger. If anything else, it's healthy for me. And it can still feed my husband, but in different ways. If the whole grains does not work for my husband, it is absolutely working for me. And y'all, I couldn't feel better. And this was just in a short time. I was amazed that I could eat a grain like that, or a grain product. I did not bloat at all. And that is the first time. And that, I mean, even with a piece of toast, I always bloated, but I did not do that. Now, another thing that I found absolutely amazing was my normal is I would eat 2 of those enchiladas, and I could not do it. I did well to eat 1, and the most amazing part of it is I stayed full the whole night. I didn't have to snack all night long. That is not normal. I didn't crave sugar foods either. That was not normal. These were things that made me stop and think, is this my answer? But what if? What if I didn't pursue it? God gave me the means right now to be able to order those berries. And I did. I want to thank the lady who came to me about Azure standards. I have never done Azure. Now, I will say that I am learning so much more. Evidently, there is a drop-off in my town I did not know about. I will look further into that. There is a subscriber, a lady who's been watching, who came to me. That was such a blessing. We are like serious neighbors. And so, again, what if? Y'all, what if this is my answer? When God leads you, and though I don't know everything about the Lord, y'all, I'm still learning myself, and some things I even question. God, is this you? And I am doing that right now. I am questioning, is this you, Lord? Am I taking the right steps? Am I doing wrong? I don't know. But what if he is leading me? Because all things are coming into place. What if I didn't take that leap of faith and find out if this is my direction? I would miss everything. So I'm going to take that chance. Now, I did order from Azure Standards. Now, if I can find a drop-off, it's going to be such a bigger blessing for me, because the shipping rates were crazy. But I did make my first haul, and it will be here sometime next week, possibly. Regardless, I still got enough to keep me going for a little while. Now, I did make a small haul from Pullman brand. Now, they are slightly higher for a 25-pound bag of whole wheat red and white berries. It was $54.98 or $54.95 a bag. So, and anything over $99, shipping is free. So basically, those 2 bags gave me my free shipping. However, that is kind of high versus Azure Standards. But in the same aspect, Azure makes up for it in their shipping cost if you do not have a drop-off. So, but that was my chance, and I took it. And would I do it again? Probably not. But I'm going to look further into it. So, yes, I had looked into this a couple years before I found out my husband was even a diabetic. Now, another question is, what if it's too late now for my husband? But what if it is not? What if this is a way that he can enjoy life again, and I didn't take that leap of faith and just told him to eat his chewy, rubbery bread and be happy with it, when God had an answer for me and I just chose not to do this, or I was too afraid, or whatever the reason. Truth be known, if I really wanted to, I could have truthfully saved up each week until I got the meal that I wanted, and I didn't make the effort. He gets a bonus every year, or we get our taxes every year. I could have had ways of doing this, but it was me who chose not to. So I can't blame anybody else. But I did take my opportunity now, because I am trying to listen better. And the more I listen, the more it's showing me. I have lost 5 pounds on the Mediterranean diet slowly. I am losing more inches than I am weight, and I feel so much better. My hair is healthier, my body is healthier, more energy, and the more I learn about all natural foods, the better off I am. I will continue to keep making food homemade and in the new way that I am doing, because there are still plenty of other folks out there who would be interested in this. Now, I will tell you that I have done my research very hard and trying to find the information to somebody telling me the truth. Does whole grains, literally whole grains, not the enriched whole grains from the grocery store, but real whole grains, do they lower blood sugar? Do you know I can't find that answer hardly anywheres? But I have had a couple of real life experiments from folks who are doing this to come to me and tell me it has worked for their family, and it's about time they found somebody who was finding out for themselves. Y'all, if I am the only YouTuber that's going to be out here to tell the truth and do this experiment, and my husband take the risk to do this for all the diabetics out there, we're doing that. What if we didn't? What if we kept it to ourselves because others can't do this? Would that be fair? I would have wanted to know. I still want to know, and I don't have that answer. So I'm not going to keep something a secret. I want to share it. Now, with that, with my question of what if, and now my answer to I'm going to try this because I'm not going to know unless I do. I will report if it goes sour. I will let you know immediately. Diabetics, do not do this. I will be watching him very carefully. I will not do anything to harm or hurt my husband in any way. But he wants to know too. He's hopeful. And he's wanting to know, will this help him? Because we've been told by the FDA, by nutritionists, whole grain lowers blood sugar. What they do not tell us, and what they neglect to tell us, isn't from the processed store-bought products. Y'all, this is from real God-given grains, grown organically, naturally, not broke down. The only thing left on those flowers on your shelf is endoderm. Yeah, endoderm. The rest of it, the bran, the germ, all of that was removed. That is where your vital nutrients, vitamins, and minerals are coming from. That is what lowers your blood sugar. That is where your fiber comes from. And that is what's being removed. And it's not going to work. Instead, it's going to create obesity. It's going to create heart disease. It's going to create blood sugar and diabetes. So we have been learning this. Can we do it now naturally and reverse this? We won't know unless we try. We will tread very carefully. Now, the other aspect of it is not to do this every single day. And portion control. Now, in the Mediterranean, I will tell you, they eat bread daily, but they don't eat from the same enriched flours we do. They eat their legumes and their fibers. They do it with naturals. This synthetic fibers from the low-carb products, from keto breads, is crazy, y'all. And I have never felt miserable in my life. I never felt right. So I'm going to try it a different way. And so far, I couldn't feel less bloated. Y'all, it's amazing. So I'm going to stop rambling on. I'm going to go ahead and show you where I'm at right now, getting caught up with everything. getting everything ready for the homestead because planting is about to begin and I cannot wait. In the middle of April, it's time to start this homestead up and running. I am starting seedlings this week as well because it is time for those other seedlings that we have planted are ready to be transplanted as we are on our second set of leaves. Hallelujah! Everything is coming into play. Some did not germinate, not going to stop me. I'm going to redo it. I'm not going to continue to just give up and say no if it didn't work out my way. I'm going to redo this. These beds, y'all, I finally finished all of the raised beds yesterday. I got a good workout too, I'll tell you. That was the best exercise, and you know what? I never tired, but I slept so good. It was unbelievable. So I'm going to take you around and show you all the raised beds that we have ready. Everything is ready and set, waiting to be planted, including the new ones up front. Ones you probably wouldn't thought about. My husband brought those home from work. Those are what we call the manly raised beds. He has his beds, I have mine, I guess you could put it. So I am going to show you around. I'm going to finish my work out here on the farm, and then we are going inside and we are going to finish fixing up my Jamaican sorrel drink. We're going to make some Pullman whole wheat berry bread and some sourdough starter. We're going to begin that. So this is a long video but full of information, and again, it's one of those questions I have to ask. What if? Today is a what if day, and then with the what if day we're going on, we'll never know unless we try. All right, my family, there is all those beds. This one here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beds filled and ready to go. We're looking for straw so that we can cover up our plants after the fact and keep them hydrated. And then we have this one at the 10-footer, and then over here, which I have celery started in this one, we have this one. So altogether we have 7 of these 8x4 by 2 foot raised beds. I'm excited, and I just finished filling the last one yesterday. Now I'm also showing you those. We still got the 20-footers over here that we are working with, and I did fill in some of the gaps on those. And then here, this 10-footer. Now I'm going to show you the 2 my husband has. Okay, my family, so you can't get more manlier than this. These were tractor tires that my husband had from on a piece of equipment at work. He got to looking at it, and so he decided he was going to bring it home and asked if I would fill them. Now he's got this one, and he's got this one over here. So this is, well, his and hers raised beds. I told him that I would fill this absolutely no problem, and he's going to try and see what he can grow. This one here, this is in the front of our house, by the way, and this one here he's wanting to grow cherry tomatoes. I'm not quite sure yet what he wants to do with this one right here. I'm thinking he's going to do strawberries. We're not quite sure. They're his, so I'm gonna let him do what he wants with it. But I thought it was kind of cool, you know. And the fact is that these are just as deep. These are a good depth, so even tomatoes can grow in this a whole lot better than we had last year. So let's see. Okay, so we are now inside. Now I am first going to drain because my sorrel, Jamaican sorrel juice is ready. Oh, and I will tell you what's in here. We have some anise seed in here, the star anise. We have cinnamon sticks, we have clove, we have fresh ginger, and then we have our Jamaican sorrel, otherwise known as hibiscus flower or Florida cranberry, however way you want to put it. This is going to be my drink. I am super stoked to get this one done and get some of this cooled off. But now that it's been steeped, I need to actually strain this. So I'm going to strain out all the flowers and everything out of this. kind of interesting that this video came about. With making Jamaican sorrel, this is like absolutely blood red color. Now, when I look at this, I'm thinking of Passover coming for Easter. Sorry about my big head in the way, y'all. I am trying to get all my ingredients out of here so that I can let it strain. Hang on. So, when I think of Passover, I think about the Last Supper before Christ was put to the cross. And so when I look at this Jamaican sorrel, although it's not the same thing, it's not wine or nothing, but it still shows me the blood of Jesus. And I'm remembered again about all the paths I'm being taken down. Wow, these little cranberries, they were dried, but they're so puffy now and so full to life. That's a Jamaican sorrel hibiscus flower. So now I'm just going to set this aside, let this juice cool off, let these rest of this ingredients strain. Now unfortunately it's now trash, but hey, it gives me something good. This is one of the plants that I am fixing to regrow again this year, and hopefully a lot better. And I have to get my seeds in now. I will be growing these this week indoors. So let me put this aside and I'll be right back. Alright, next, since I got the Jamaican sorrel juice already straining and that's cooling off, next we're going to go ahead and start our bread. I am going to be using hard white wheat berries on this one. I'm actually going to cut the recipe on this. I will write this down this time for everybody instead of a link, but I want you to know this recipe is coming from Grains and Grit. So I am going to be using her Pullman pan whole milled wheat bread. So we're going to go ahead and try this. I'm going to take she stated to take 6 cups of the either hard red or white or the combination of both. I'm going to use nothing but the hard white because I've heard so many good results from this one. It makes your bread a little bit softer. The hard red wheat, that one's got more of a nuttier flavor but can be a bit more dense. So we're going to use this one here is more like your bread flour source. The hard white, the hard red is more like your whole wheat version of flour. So, and then basically the soft wheat that we have done for your pastries and tortillas and stuff, that one would kind of be like your all-purpose. Now, mind you, every one of these grains are not technically that way because the store brand is far different, but this is the aspect of what it would come down to. So, and then there are others like kamut and all these other, which are ancient grains, which I will probably be trying later on as well. Right now, I'm going to be working with or trying the 3 mains: the soft, the red, the soft wheat berries, and then the hard red and white berries. We are going to do the white today. I'm doing half this recipe, so instead of 6 cups, which is going to be approximately 9 to 9.5 cups of flour, I'm going to actually make and do 3 cups because I'm only doing half this recipe. This recipe will make 1.5 or 1.5 pounds of bread, and I don't need that much. Although I could freeze it, I really don't need that much. I want to go with 1. So the Pullman pan I'm going to be using is my 2-pound Pullman pan. So we're going to be working with this one. Now, without further ado, let me go ahead. I've already demonstrated to y'all how to use the Wonder Mill. Honestly, I think given the opportunity, should I be able to get that opportunity, I will be owning 2 mills. The other one I want one with the steel blade, and then I want the other one with the grinding stones, and that one would be either the Camus or the Nutri-Mill. I'm going to look into those. I am actually going to see which one I can do first. And if I can't, I'm staying with the Wonder Mill, y'all. So let me go ahead and get these done, and we'll be right back. I thought I'd give you a quick glance of how I'm storing my whole wheat berries. We're actually putting them in an airtight containers and storing them on top of my counter. So this is how I'm dealing with these. And then my leftovers, which I got 25-pound bags, are in very tight sealed food gradable buckets. But I can refill these up as I go. All right, my family. When I write this recipe out, I'm actually going to give you the full recipe, not the half version. So just know that as I give you this recipe, I am going to give you as it is while I work with half of that. So I'm needing 3 3/4 cups of warm water, about 105 to 110 degrees. And then I need 2 1/4 tablespoons of yeast. I am using the instant dried yeast. Okay, now I need a half a cup of honey. Now, mind you, this goes distributed between 3 loaves of bread. So this honey is actually coming out to a small portion when it comes to eating it. So, but I'd rather use honey than use sugar. This is a really good grade of honey too. A lot of this, not all of it, but a lot of this will be eaten by the yeast as well. But also from the grain. All right. Let me get this honey cleaned up and we'll be right back. Okay, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding my cups of flour. It says to start out with 3 cups. And then we're going to let this sit for about 15-20 minutes. So after I get my flour in here, I'm going to mix it up really well first. And then we're going to let this sit to proof, basically. Alright, so now I'm going to bring this up and turn this on. And we're going to get this mixed up right quick. Now I'm going to scrape down the sides of my bowl as well as soon as this is done. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead, scrape down my bowl. Just like so. Mix this up really good. And then when this gets nice and bubbly in about 15-20 minutes, we will be right back. And we will go ahead and finish the rest of our ingredients in our bread. In case you are wondering if we lose the nutrients in this bread by baking it using this whole grain, I have asked the same question basically, because that crossed my mind as well, is well, if we're adding nutrients, we're going to bake it. But because we have so much of the nutrients, I mean, we have this in pure raw form. We lose some, but we do not lose all of it. Hence the reason that we get full better. We don't start craving sugars, and the fact that we don't bloat and all that. Even after a form is baked or cooked, we're not losing everything. So that answer would be no. We're not losing all our nutrients, vitamins, and minerals. Can this bread be frozen after it's made? Absolutely. Now, I'm not sure how long the nutrients and all would last in it, but we can freeze this afterwards. So, but I'm going to tell you, even with the fact between this and store-bought, even if we did lose some of the nutrients, y'all, we still have the better effects from this bread than I would from the grocery store. Again, please understand, I'm not telling everybody to go out, grab a mill, and, you know, forget about your breads. This is only if you want to. This is what we are going to do. But this falls in the category for me, what if? And then the other category is, how am I going to know unless I try it? This is where I'm at. And based by what I am experiencing right now, I cannot wait to see what my results are going to be in the next couple months when I go to my doctor. Because I am literally blown away so far by going 100% Mediterranean. Now, changing the grains and what I eat. And we need those grains, y'all. But now I'm getting them in raw form. Tonight's supper, now for my husband, we're going to take this bread and we're going to try it with him. He's going to have a low carb version of probably a mini meatloaf for him, and maybe some cauliflower mashed potatoes, and then a couple slices or one slice of this bread. Me, on the other hand, I'm going to make some Mediterranean butter beans and serve it with this bread, toasted and dipped in olive oil. So we're going 2 different meals tonight, and we're going to see how this works. So back to waiting till this gets bubbly, and I'm going to tell y'all, this is looking amazing. This is working very nicely. As a matter of fact, I'm highly impressed. So let's continue to wait and go on with our bread. Okay, my family, so while I wait for what I consider the bread of life, I want you to see the Jamaican sorrel. Y'all, this is about as close to the blood of Jesus as you can get. This meal is really weird, and, you know, with the drink and all. Going completely Mediterranean, having the abilities of having this all natural in my life, you know, I gotta look, my little brother once told me, and I'm never proud of myself for this. He used to tell me, sis, he says, you know, this is great that you would garden and all. Now, mind you, know my little brother, he loves me. He really does. And because of that, he does get concerned for me sometimes, but he made a good point, which I brushed off, because at the time I didn't think about it. But in a sense of it, it made sense. And I guess sometimes I got angry about it because he did make sense. If I was going to go through the trouble of having all of these gardens, if I was going to go through the trouble of preserving and canning my own food and going to the point of eating healthier, and at the same time, while I was doing all that, I was smoking, did that make any sense whatsoever? Because basically everything that I put into my body, well, I was just getting rid of it because I was smoking it away. Well, March will be 1 year since I quit. Thank you, little brother, for loving me like you had. Thank you for pointing out and being persistent with me, because I understand today. Food tastes so much better to me. My sinuses are not as messed up as they used to be whatsoever. My skin has turned basically younger for as old as I am. My health, my body, I'm being able to do so much more than I've ever done without being out of breath. I used to have COPD, y'all. And I was getting to the point I was going to get really, really bad if I didn't stop. My lungs, I'm able to breathe a whole lot better than I've ever done before. And I do not regret this. And now the fact is, since I gave up excessive amounts of drinking, since I gave up smoking, I now can absorb all the nutrients and vitamins in my body, and I couldn't be happier. So now I'm experimenting with so much more that I've wanted to do, and now it is worthwhile to me. So yes, when I bring out the Jamaican sorrel tea that I'm fixing to get into right now, and when I make my bread of life, y'all, it's worth it to me because I had destroyed my body. Not just medically when I had thyroid cancer or because I was becoming obese. I was overweight. I had a very high cholesterol. I was borderline with getting so close to having high blood pressure medicine and so on and so forth that I was destroying my body. In some ways, I didn't understand what it was until now. And in other ways, I purposely did it. And so to be able to do this for me, I'm excited. I'd like to know how many more years I added to my life. And you know, I really got to thank God for saving my life. Maybe there's a purpose in all things after all. And I'm starting to see that. But what if I didn't take that opportunity to show you? Okay, so our bread is proofing. I don't know if you can see that, but this is a lot of bubbles in here. So we're going to go ahead with the next step. Next step would be adding a half a cup of oil. I am using olive oil, just like Felicia does in Green and Grits. Go ahead and get this cleaned out of my cup. And then she uses 3.5 or 3.25 teaspoons of salt. Now that would be your preference, y'all, on how much you want to use. Personally, I'm probably only going to use 1 teaspoon of that for me. But like I said, I'm only doing half of that. So, but even if I was doing the whole thing, I would still probably only do half of that amount. But that's whatever preference you prefer. So I'm going to go ahead and add my salt. And now I'm going to continue 1 cup at a time. We're going to start this. And what we're looking for is our flour or our dough to come off the sides of our okay, hang on a second. Okay, what we're looking for is we're looking for the dough to come off the sides of the walls of the bowl. Once that happens, this is when we're going to stop adding any more flour and we're going to knead our dough. Because this is going to have to turn around and basically this type of wheat, you got to allow it to hydrate. So we're going to go ahead and start this. And I'm going to keep mixing it till it's not sticky anymore. And when our dough literally just starts coming off of the walls of this bowl. Now, I'm going to come back and show you what that looks like at that point. Okay, y'all, at this point now, it started to pull away. Now, I'm not going to add, so far I've not added all this flour. You want to do this 1 cup at a time. Now, I still need to add some flour to this, but I'm going to watch, so I'm not going to add everything that we had milled up. We only are going to add what we need. And then let this sit for a few minutes and see if it will actually pull away. Alright, y'all, as you will see, we're kneading now about 9 to 10 minutes. And we did not use all of our flour. Almost, not quite. But this will allow me that if I need it when I go to stretching it or whatever and forming it, if I need to surface my counter, I have the flour to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish kneading this up until my 10-minute point, and we will be back. Okay, y'all, so now I'm going to check for the stretch, and we're going to look for the window pane on this one and see if we can get that window pane. We're getting there. This is nice, y'all. Very glutinous. We're still not there yet, so we're going to let this go for a little bit longer, and we're going to knead it some more. And we have a beautiful stretchy see-through bread. So we are done kneading. This took approximately 10 minutes, y'all, to do on this mixer. Now, I've heard that the Bosch mixers, the bigger ones, they don't take as long, maybe about 3 minutes. This machine took about 10 minutes to do. So, but nonetheless, it did. It got a little warm, but not too hot. Now, my other one, which is a lot smaller KitchenAid, there is no way I would have attempted doing this bread in that one. So, we're going to go ahead and take this out of here. We're going to start shaping our bread, and we'll be right back to show you the next step. Okay, my family, so I've not really had to add any enhancers or nothing to my dough. This has actually turned out pretty nice. Now, with the remaining bit of my flour, now this, to the touch, is really, I can work with this, but it's slightly sticky. So that's where, very lightly, the remaining bit of my flour, I'm just going to lightly put this on my board, just like so, because I don't want to add a lot more flour to this at all. The least amount I add to it, the better off I am. So I'm going to take actually some of this off of here as well, because I do not want to add too much to this. I just need a very light coating. So I weighed this. This came out so close. It was just a hair over 2 pounds, y'all. And that's exactly what I needed. So I did the exact amount of flour and all to make this recipe in my Pullman pan. That is good. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. I'm going to fold this in just like so. Now, Miss Felicia, she rolls hers like so. And then tucks it. And then she does this with hers. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to have to stretch this as far as I can get my pan to go as well, because this needs to go inside my Pullman pan. So, just going to roll it, measure it, and that'll be it right there. I'm going to go ahead and fix this up. I'm going to drop this in our pan, just like so. And now is when we're going to let this rest, well, rise. We want this to rise up to the top of this pan. So I'm going to go ahead and put my lid on this, and we're going to let it do its thing, y'all, until it comes to the top. And this should take about an hour. Wrong side. There is a good right way to use this pan. The lid goes on at a certain point a lot better than the other side. Huh. Okay, hang on a second. Sorry, y'all. Okay, I figured it out. So I want to leave a small opening on this because I want to be able to watch it. Yet I am going to cover that with a tea towel so that I can keep an eye on the rising on this. But I don't want it drying out at the same time. So I am going to cover that end right there with my tea towel, or with my towel actually, and we will be back in about an hour. In the meantime, I have my oven set for 350 degrees. That's the only type. We don't need a super high heat for this bread. This is a very simple, basic bread. So we'll be back as soon as this has reached its point of, rising. Now, the rest of this I'm probably going to save, because I'm going to see if I could use this towards the sourdough. This will not, so far, it's going to depreciate in nutrients very quickly. However, I am using it within this day. So this is not going to go to waste. I am actually going to use this for the sourdough and get it started after we get this bread done. Okay, so maybe the next question would be, Miss Carrie, if I don't, or what if I don't have a mixer? Can I still do this bread? Can I knead this bread by hand? The answer would be yes, you can, even without a mixer. Now, it would require you more than likely to have to knead your bread at least 15 to 20 minutes. So even if you could do that, if you can handle doing that kind of length of time in kneading your bread, absolutely, I would go ahead and do that. What you're looking for, again, now it will be sticky at first. Know that. Please try to resist adding too much flour. Do a little at a time. Work this in to get the glutens to work out. You need to do that. Part of kneading. Forgive the pun. But you're looking for the same thing that I did. You look for that window pane, that stretch and that window pane. That is vitally important to this bread. The other questions on what if I don't have a mill. If you are one of the lucky ones to have a Vitamix, it has been said that you can turn around and turn these berries into flour with one of those as well. Just something I heard. You might want to look into that. Or you can get an inexpensive hand grinder. Now, it is said that those are a little bit harder to do, but it's not impossible. They are a lot cheaper. And so if you wanted to start out with that, I mean, honestly, if the opportunity did not arise for me, I was going to consider doing it hand mill. And a matter of fact, when I first got to this a couple years ago, when I started on this path of looking into it, that was the first thing I was looking at, is can I do it by hand, manually? So the answer is yes. They are a little bit cheaper than doing it by the electric ones. So either way it goes, you can even do those with a Vitamix. As far as a food processor or anything like that, I don't know. I know that NutriBullets people have been able to do it like that too. Please look it up, because I don't know for sure, honestly. And like I said, I'm looking in the stone grounder because it's smaller compacted, for one. And two, especially when it comes to sourdough, that's a little bit smaller compact. So if I wanted to do small amounts of grain, that would be my best bet. The Wonder Mill is amazing, and it can grind up flour really quick. Now, I can see using this when it's time for making bread, when I need a good amount of flour to do that. But for something small, I can say that it's probably, because it's a two-piece system, it could get a little annoying. Nonetheless, I count my blessings, because I do have a mill, and I will do what I have to do. Now, while I'm waiting for my bread to rise, because it's a simple process right now of starting our sourdough mix, I'm going to go ahead and start that with you while this is rising. So let's move on to our sourdough starter. Y'all, you're getting a big package today, all in one video. Even if it is slightly longer, you're getting a really big package, and hopefully a lot of information from this, because seriously, what if? Okay, y'all, so I'm needing to start out with 50 grams of my flour. So I am still using the hard white wheat. And so at this current moment, I have about 30 grams of flour left over from my bread. That means I am going to have to add 20 grams more of berries. You want to use berries, by the way. to get your 50. When you use the berries, you will absolutely get that much in flour. So I need 20 more grams of wheat berries to mill, which is a very small amount for this actually, but I need to do this accurately and I don't want to waste the flour for that. So I'm looking to get my 20 grams here, and then I'm going to mill that. Once I get this milled, we will be right back, and we will go ahead and start with our new sourdough using whole wheat berries. This ought to be interesting. Okay, y'all, so I have seen this done. Sutton Days and a few others have tried this. There was a few other grain millers out here who have tried this, so I have seen it done, although I've not seen it done by a lot of people. So one thing that they stressed, though, was the accuracy of the sourdough. The other thing they stress is this one takes 2 weeks. Unlike using store-bought flour, it goes a lot quicker. Within a week, you're able to make bread. This one could take longer, so be aware of that. Now, I do have my other starter if I want to have sourdough right now. Personally, though, because I'm trying to go on the healthier route, I'm probably going to put that starter probably to rest. If I can get this one done, let's see, this is what I'm praying for. So I need 50 grams of fresh milled flour, and I am using, perfect, I am using the white wheat berries, the hard white wheat berries. So now, let me get a spoon right quick so I can finish the rest of this. Okay, so I got a spoon. Now I want to finish this to where it comes out to be 50 grams of it. Let's see if what they say is true, because I put 20 and it looks like it's going to. Hang on, let me move that cup out of the way. Yep. That was spot on, y'all. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this flour out of here because I need every bit of it, and I'll be right back. All right. So I'm going to tear this out, and now I'm going to go ahead and add our water. You are going to need a clean jar every time we do this, but not for the first 3 days. We're going to just make this mix and set it aside and wait for some action to work on this. You will end up with some false rises in the process of this going on. So let me go ahead and get my 50 grams of water. Again, you're using clear purified water or anything like that. Please don't use tap unless you've let it sit overnight. Go ahead and measure this out right quick. Need to take some of that water out of there. Now I have a little bit too much. Okay. All right, now I am actually going to take this off of here, clear this out, turn it off, and mix it. So I'm just going to go ahead and mix my sourdough starter mix in here. And then we're going to drop this into our jar. It makes it a lot easier to do it in here instead of trying to do that in my jar, because I want to try to keep that as clean as possible. And when I saw somebody do this, it was like, really? An aha moment for me, I guess. So I made sure that there's no flour dry. And now let's go ahead and add this to our jar. Making sure that you can get all of this as much as possible in here, y'all. Just a little bit more here, and that'll be it. Okay, so same aspect I'm going to go ahead and do with my lid. Now, Sutton Days, she didn't use a lid per se. She used a dry cloth on top. I will tell you the experiences that she made, or that she had, it made a lot of sense, y'all. She used nothing but, what do you call that? Like a cloth base or like a coffee filter. And she, every time, well, and was using wood heat for heat sources to keep her sourdough warm, basically. But anyways, all nonchalantly, it ended up that she had the crust on the top. It makes sense because it was getting too much air and drying out. So this I have found every time, even with my others, take it all the way, back it up one. And now I'm just going to let this sourdough sit right here on my counter. Well, and actually, I'm going to go take that into the pantry for 3 days. I'm not going to do nothing with it, just like I did with my first round. So we're starting a whole new sourdough, y'all. I am not even going to name this thing yet until we see what it does. And I see something I need to clean up right quick because it came up on the walls and I don't really like that. So I'm not even going to put a rubber band around this yet, because we're not really going to do anything with this until we see what happens after 3 days. So again, I'm just going to close this off. We're going to go put this in the pantry. And this is the journey, y'all, to our new whole berry sourdough starter. Let's see if this works for us like it has worked for many others. Alright, y'all, so how do I know if my bread is ready? Now this thing is right here at the top of this, so I'm going to have to bring it down some. But I will lightly press it. If it continues to come back all the way, then it is still rising. But this is still leaving my indentation, so this indicates to me it has risen as far as it's going to rise, which is actually great. I'm actually going to tuck this bad boy in here. Come on now. Well, right? Okay, y'all. So, I will be back. We're going to tuck this in here, and then we are going to actually put this in the oven to bake. Okay, y'all, so I got to laugh at myself. Our bread is in the oven for 35 minutes, by the way. So I got to laugh at myself because, you know, I told you I was struggling with getting my lid on top and I couldn't figure out why. Well, I went to go try to close it and still it's not acting right. Well, shows you how long it's been since I've used my Pullman pan because I literally put that lid on the wrong way. So, it is in the oven. Let's pray that it seals, and it does still well. I don't know how it's going to be when we go to pull it out, but we will find out. So, we are baking this for 35 minutes. Once this is baked, we will be right back. We're looking for a nice golden brown, and for me, I look for that temperature of 199 to 205. I test my bread with thermometers, internal temps. That has always been proven to me that my bread was thoroughly cooked. So we will be back. Okay, y'all, so my internal temp was about 203 to 207 degrees. I had still 8 minutes left on my timer, so my oven actually cooked this a lot sooner. And even though I did put my lid on the wrong way, it still came out really good. So what I am actually going to do is wait for this for just a few minutes. I'm going to turn it out on a baker's rack so I don't get this thing sweating in here. So I'm going to give this just a few minutes, and then we're going to turn this out. It states to let it sit for 10 minutes and then be able to put it in a cooling rack. So I guess I'm going to try that and see how this works. Y'all, so far I'm quite amazed. This is very soft, actually, for being home ground whole wheat bread. I'm beyond baffled about this whole thing. Okay, y'all, so 10 minutes is up, and I'm going to take our bread and pull it out of our pan. We don't really want that sweating making this all wet. We want this to get some air. So I do have air flowing underneath. Now I am not going to set this upright like this. This is the way it normally sat. I don't want the weight for the top to keep it down, so I'm actually going to lay mine sideways. I've heard that I've seen other people do this. Excuse me for 1 minute, folks. I apologize. So I've heard others say that their bread does not collapse. It also keeps it nice and soft and not turn dense. So we're going to try that out, this theory. So I'm laying it on its side. I am not going to cut this bread whatsoever until it completely cools. That is the other key to making this bread. In the meantime, we will be back. Okay, my family, so this is now cooled quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off a piece of this and show you what the inside looks like. Now, I want you to keep watch out for the community section, because I will be posting hubby's results from this. But I wanted to show you what this bread looks like, y'all. It is beautiful. It's light, airy, not dense at all. This is going to make beautiful sandwich bread. Oh my goodness. And smells so amazing. So, like I said, keep up with the community. I will be posting hubby's results from this from supper tonight. He is actually going to have 2 pieces of this bread with some chili. And I am getting ready to make my butter beans. We'll be right back. Okay, y'all, so I'm getting ready to go ahead and cook our supper tonight, and we're going to go to the gym afterwards. Now, I will tell you again, please keep an eye on the community, because I do post in there sometimes when I don't make a video. I speak to my family through that, and most of the time it makes it easier for me to give you the results on that category. So, I hope this was informative, and to close this video, I will put it like this. Again, what if I didn't stumble across this? What if I didn't share this with you? What if this works and I just passed it off because I couldn't do it? What if I just turned around and felt to the point where, okay, everybody else can't do this? And I get that. I've been there. I have been there. I've been doing this for 5 years in homesteading. There's a lot I had to put away because I couldn't do it. But what if I kept that? There are plenty who are milling too. There are other ways to be able to do this. And I'm not telling you, you have to. Go ahead and at least do homemade, y'all. But I will say this. I've had some say, well, I can't do this, so this isn't for me. I understand that. Please, I do understand that. But please don't take the fact away that what if this does help somebody? What if there are other homesteading diabetics who have food mills? Or what if they, like us, saved money or using their taxes, or maybe they have some kind of bonus every year? What if they took that time and bought them the mill? And what if I didn't share and ended up like searching what I'm doing now? What is the way for a true diabetic to eat healthier? What is a way for me to eat healthier? The Mediterranean in the UK, they have something going on for themselves. And one of the biggest reasons they are doing so amazing in their health, folks, is because they stayed away from the processed world that the United States is doing. And because of that, we are sick. We have a high rise, and I've mentioned this before, heart disease, diabetes, and obesity are 3 of the most dangerous. Cancer follows suit, and now everything else. If we can improve our health, we improve our immune system. So, what if? What if I didn't make this video at all and have you thinking, maybe just for a moment, maybe if we could take so much, and I've done this lately, I could take $5 a week and put it away for something like my new mill that I would like to have until I can get the money up. What if I just stumbled on something, if not for my husband, then even for myself, because I am feeling the effects, y'all. I know what it can do. So I'm sharing that with you. Please allow me to do that. If it's not for you, I completely understand, and I hold nothing against anybody. But please allow this to be for somebody who really needs this, because this is how God uses me. So what if? Think about it. I love you, and until next time, we'll see what else we can come up with. So, this is from Parton's Heritage Homestead. My name is Carrie, and I have so much more coming up for you all. I love my family to pieces, and we will see you again, I promise. God bless.